صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Al-Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi says in a narration, للصائم فرحتان, that the one that fasts has two moments, or you could say two joys or two successes or two moments of triumph. He says the first is the farha anda iftari. The first one is that joy of when they break their fast. And it's like getting to a finish line. I'm almost there. And you hit the wall. Running, you've been fasting the whole day, that last 1 hour or that last 5 minutes, especially for the smokers out there. You know, when they're twitching, they hit the wall. It's that last moment, and they just make it over the finish line. And then he says, وَفَرْحَ عَنْدَ لِقَاء رَبِّهِ. This is the real moment of success and joy. This is the real moment of triumph. Why? Because when you read in the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal in the honorable Quran describes the day of judgment in many verses that really bring a shiver down your spine. Yawm al-Faza al-Akbar. Faza, when you hear the word faza, when I hear the word, that moment of deterrence or that moment of fear. People don't know what fear is. And sometimes when we watch a horror movie, people think, yes, I got scared. Have you had one of those nightmares where you wake up and you really feel? This is a form of fear that Allah gives you a glimpse, yet even this isn't fear. Al-Faza al-Akbar. The day of judgment is a day of great fear, but in this narration, the Imam says it is a day of triumph and a day of joy for the Sa'im. For the one that fasts. The one that fasts in this month. Not the one that looks for an excuse to avoid fasting. Says, look brother, I would have fasted, but my nose is bleeding. You know, one of those things. I walked into a door. You think, hold on. I better go over the mufattarat sheet. Nosebleeds. It's not there. You know, where did they get this? Or sometimes some people come with the excuse, especially in the women. This is great for the women. They don't fast because they're breastfeeding. Then they see another woman that's breastfeeding. Oh my God, you're fasting. What are you doing? What about the health of this child? Because I don't want to fast. Some women have a genuine reason. Others are just not strong enough to fast, you know. I fear the other gender. Even though my wife's not here, one of my friends could be a victim tonight. So, or they just want to see others not fasting. You're pregnant, why are you fasting? If you don't feel it's good for you, or you don't feel that you are capable of performing this fast, why do I need to prevent others? وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Look at the words I use. Allah Azza wa Jal uses words, وَأَن تَصُومُوا. If you fast, this is after he says that there are those that have traveled, even though traveling, you know, some of the brothers, when they want to travel, some of the brothers or the sisters, when they want to travel, they travel at any time of the day, especially in summer. Winter, everyone's pretty, you know, cool because it's 11 hours of fasting. You know, it's not an issue. But when summer kicks in, there are those that say, you know what, I feel like going to the beach today. So I'm going to go safar and return. That's permissible. Within the 21st 24 days, it is makruh to travel, but it's permissible. Then in another instance, we said illness, we said travel. But then God says in the Quran, quite clearly, He says, وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. If you fast, it is better for you. And then it finishes. Must be a good party outside I'm missing out on. Yeah? Plenty of laughs. But anyway, Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Do you know what he says there? You know those people that like to know intricate knowledge, secretive knowledge, the people that want to know how pi came about, people that want to know this knowledge. This is the in kuntum ta'lamun. Only if you, only those that know, only if you knew the value of fasting. This narration sums it up, that the day of judgment is a day of farah, a day of joy for the Sa'im, the one that fasts. Now, this month, in our discussion, we will continue the discussion that we began last year. We spoke for, when I say we, it's because we're all involved in this. You are members of my life. That for me to advance in life, I require you people around me, because from you, and this wallah is not mujamali in any way. It's not in any form of me doing a lip service. But when I see you all, the lost spirit that I have, you give me spirit. And this is why I enjoy coming here. So why I enjoy being around your faces. This is why I enjoy being around you people. That you are helping me in this journey to restore what I lost. To restore whatever was missing for me. And this is why this month I really like to concentrate on character building and self-building. See, our faith has many great ideals, and we have a problem with ourselves in general. I have a problem with myself. That I always like to say, wow, Islam looks great. Look at this beautiful model. Why am I not a part of it? I look, this religion is structured on having one creator. It's structured on having a God, a creator that is merciful, that created mankind. And no matter how much mankind transgresses, He gives them an opportunity to turn back. A creator that when He sent representatives on the earth, He sent the best representatives. That no matter what people did to them, no matter how people treated them, they would only treat them in the best possible way. That I look at the prophets throughout and how they suffered from prophet to prophet. Why do we look at history? Why do I reflect over history? To understand what this message that came to me, that and how I've been treating this message, how I deal with this message, and the journey that this message took to come to me. This message was in the hands of Nabi Nuh, ala nabiyina wa alihi wa alayhi salam, who in the Quran says for 950 years his people would banter, his people would jeer, his people would curse, his people would damn him, his people would abuse him, his people would speak when they died. In their wasiyah, when they're talking to their children, they say, see that old man in that house over there? He's crazy. You know, if you take a look at a lot of racists in this world, I could have sworn I put the phone on silent, but it's giving me some love calls. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. These people would say that that man is crazy. And you take a look at us, how we set. A lot of people are set on the ways that they were taught. And it takes a while for them to change. It takes a while, or you can see, for them to deviate from what they were brought up upon. So from the very beginning, these people were told, that man is mad, do not go near him. So much so that after 950 years, the burden of what they had done to him, this prophet turned around and said, Ya Allah, inni maghlub. That I have been overcome by these people. Fantasir. Give me victory over these people. Let me overcome these people because they have overcome me. I have had enough. This message that has been brought. Ibrahim al-Khalil was thrown into the fire. Ibrahim al-Khalil alayhi wa ala nabiyyina wa alihi afdal as-salatu was-salam was tried with one of the worst and most difficult trials that Allah can try anyone with, where He tested him with the sacrifice of his own son. And Ibrahim did not stop. Then the verse in the Quran speaks as the knife is sliding on the neck of his child, Allah prevents the knife from cutting. Ibrahim answered the trial. It was a trial, one prophet after another, until the final messenger, Muhamed ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who spoke out a statement that breaks the heart of every individual. He says, there was no prophet that was harmed like I was harmed. No prophet encountered the hardship that I encountered. Yet he would turn around after being abused and after being slandered. This prophet of today that they slander, let them research what this prophet did. That when people slandered and abused him, he would turn towards the heavens after angel would ask to give him vengeance over those that had harmed him and hurt him and slandered him and spat at him. And his bones were broken from these people. He would say, Allahumma ghfir li qawmi fa innahum la ya'lamun. Or Allahumma hdi qawmi fa innahum la ya'lamun. Oh Allah, forgive my nation for they do not know. Oh Allah, guide my nation for they do not know. Even this is the same speech that was given by other prophets. In Christianity, you read in the Bible, it says, even though we don't believe in Isa being crucified, but they mention these words, that forgive them, Father, for they do not know. They mention that he says this, that the prophet in his character was someone that wished the world good. He would call them to God. Even when we speak about those that carried this message that we follow, when Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam is called by Shimr ibn Dhil Jawshan to join him and fight his brother Imam Hussein alayhi salam. When he's called, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas says, Anta tad'uni ila an-nar wa ana ad'uka ila al-jannah. You call me to the fire of hell. However, I call you to paradise. Come with me to paradise. This was the way that they carried this message, and this message that I look at and I put aside and I go, wow, it looks good. This religion really looks good. One day I'm going to follow it. The final part of this usul al-din is that is a day of judgment. يوم لا تملك نفس لنفس شيئا والأمر يومئذ لله. There is a day. You know, right now you say, you know, so-and-so owes me money. This guy owes me that. On that day, no one owes anyone. All debts are settled. You don't finish until your debts are settled. You know, you get these people, they go to the Hajj. Honestly, they go to the Hajj, they owe people money. They go ziyarah, they owe people money. They go places, they owe people money. They've robbed people and they think they've got away from it. They think they're finished. They go, Wallah, I went to Hajj, Allah's forgiven my sins. He's forgiven your sins between you and yourself. What you owe others is between you and them. This is the justice of God. This is the mercy of God. There's no wasta. There's no connection. Even when people mention intercession, shafa'ah, the intercession of Ahl al-Bayt, the intercession of the Prophet, the intercession of the believers. When you look at this, I once asked a group of boys that I was discussing with religion, I said, who's more merciful, Allah or His Messenger and Ahl al-Bayt? They actually sat and thought about it. Really? So do you honestly think Allah says, look, you're going to hell, and the Prophet says, listen, for me, let this one go? You cannot even fathom the mercy of God. You cannot even see the potential of what the mercy of Allah is. Those that attended the discussion on Saturday night, I honestly believe Shahr Ramadan was an excuse for us to get out of the fire of hell. You know, you haven't gone right, Shahr Ramadan, I'll fix it up for you. This is the mercy of God. And you know what? If you don't fix it there, go to Arafah. Just stand from Dhuhr to Maghrib wearing 2 towels. And you know what? I guarantee you're clean. Allah Azza wa Jal created you to have mercy upon you. Allah created you to forgive you. Allah did not create you to punish you. Now if we look at the actions that Allah asks us to do, whether it is our prayers and our fasting, which we are doing now, inshallah we do it in the right way, or all of these actions, there is still something more. There's still something more. It's about getting to a higher place, being a better character. See, let's look at the goal that we wish to achieve. The goal that we wish to achieve, firstly, is happiness or joy on the Day of Judgment. But also to achieve a good life here. See, Allah Azza wa Jal did not create you to be miserable on earth. You choose to be miserable on earth. And if you have a look at the people that are most righteous, they're always the most happy. When I say the most happy, they are the most happy because they don't have the major problem. See, money is what you would consider a major problem. If someone is poor, it's a major problem. But it's not the major problem. It's not the most major problem. Bad health is a major problem. For me to be ill, to be sick is a big problem. But it isn't the most major problem. No faith, no piety. See, when I say religion, yes, you see people, they are Muslims. They believe in Allah Azza wa Jal. They believe in what I've mentioned. They pray, they fast, they perform Hajj, yet they're miserable. Because Allah Azza wa Jal says, فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَض. They have an ailment in their heart. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayh says, أَلَا وَإِنَّ مِنَ النِّعَمِ سَعَةُ الْمَالِ. That of the blessings of Allah is what? Of the blessings and the bounties of Allah is to have wealth, to be rich. And then he says, yet there is better than this. What does he say? صحة البدن. To have health, it is better than having money. We prove this every single time. We think about it. Take a look at all these people that get compensated for illness. Someone has a car accident, they become paraplegic. Someone's at fault, another party's at fault. Okay, they get a payout. Say they get $1 million payout. Say they get 10 million. Say they get 100 million. I want to ask you now, Who here will sell me their spinal cord? At what price? If I offered you the wealth of Carlos Salim Al-Hulu, the richest man in the world, what's he worth, 70 odd billion, and I said, I break your spine, you take this money. Who here, honestly, only the rational and sound people need to reply. Who here, I'm not saying anyone's irrational, but who here would accept it? $70 billion, but you're a paraplegic. $70 billion, but you're a quadriplegic. No one that is sound, no one that is rational. Even like if you look at work cover, workers' compensation. Do you know they put the value on a finger? What's the value on a finger? Does anyone know? $7,000. Your finger is worth I want to ask you now, if I gave you $70,000 to cut off your finger, how many people would agree? 70, once again, reasonable people. $70,000, I cut your finger off. So if I take a look at the anatomy, at the human body, there is nothing that is more valuable. Your health is always more valuable than money. Al-Muhamed Sahha, as they say. That's all that matters, health. As one of the brothers who was ill, one of I think it was my brother or a friend of mine, saw him coming down the stairs at the masjid. And he said, Hajj, may Allah yatawwal umrah, or may Allah increase your life. And he said, please don't do this dua for me. He said, do the dua, may Allah increase my life with good health. I want good health. I want to be healthy. Yes, I want a longer life, but in good health. But then there's something more important. More important than wealth. And more important than health. Something that when two men came up to Al-Imam Ali ibn Musa al-Rida salawatullahi wa salamu alayh, they said, Ya ibn Rasulullah, we are so poor. We cannot handle the poverty that we are in. And the Imam said to them, this story, most of you can say this story. You've probably heard it so many times. But he says to him that if I gave you all, he says to them, you are the richest of people. They say, how's that so? He said, if I gave you all that's on this earth, everything of wealth, would you sell me your wilayah to me? The allegiance that you have towards me? They said, no. He said, then you have something that no one can buy. You have something that no one can buy from you. No one can purchase from you. Forget health. Have you ever seen that video where that guy is in the hospital and his fingers are amputated and he's saying, all this is nothing. You see all these videos of people that have been damaged. He says, this is all nothing. This is in the way of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. This guy, you can see he's talking normally. He's not under morphine or under anything. You can see he's talking sound. It's not like sometimes you see videos and you can see some people are drug affected. As in medically affected. This guy's sound. His hands have been amputated. His legs have been amputated. And he was fighting, defending the shrine of Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam. And what was he saying? He was saying, for them anything. As long as I have my faith. Isn't this what we learn? When we hear about, once again, we go to Karbala, it's always the best because Karbala embodies everything. When Abu al-Fadl Abbas alayhi salam had his right arm severed, he said, Wallahi in qata'tumu yamini inni uhami abadan an dini. You severed my right arm, but forever I will defend my religion. There's nothing more valuable. وَخَيْرٌ مِنْ صَحَّةِ الْبَدَنِ تَقْوَى الْقَلْبِ. What's more relevant? What's more important? What is better than me? You and I having good health, having piety. This is why this discussion is important. This is why What we are discussing is more important. When I have this piety, I have this inner peace. When I've developed into this perfect individual, this journey, this discussion between you and I, to make us into better individuals so we can live better lives and we can achieve a better hereafter. By attending these majalis, you've already got a good road that you've undertaken, a path that is righteous. But for me to cleanse my soul is where I find the best of this life and the best of the hereafter. There are those, when it comes to sin, that abstain from sin. They have wara. As we know in the narration, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam gives his sermon about this month, the moment he finishes the sermon, then it's question. You know, sometimes you ask people, you finish a sermon, you finish a discussion, teacher at school asks a question. You know, you have the class clowns, you have those that want to ask, or the teacher asks them a question just to invigorate their brain. Someone asks and they ask stupid questions. They ask questions that have nothing to do with the subject. Then you need, this is where the opportunity is for the A grade students, but they don't take this opportunity, to ask the right question. Amir al-Mu'min asks a question that he knows the answer to. Ask a question so everyone else can benefit. So everyone can listen and understand. He says, Ya Rasulullah, ما أفضل الأعمال في هذا الشهر. You need to know, this is a key question. You're getting told by the Messenger of Allah that this month is the best month, its days are the best days, its nights are the best nights, its hours are the best hours. Everything, every single thing about this month is better than every other month. Every point of this month, every facet, every face, every side, there is nothing in this month that's not better than another month. So then he says, what do you ask? If I know I'm going to get the most reward, everything's going to work out with me, what is the question that I should be asking? He says, ما أفضل الأعمال في هذا الشهر. What is the best action that I can do? God's giving points in this month. God's giving rewards in this month. What do I do so I can maximize? See, tonight, did you read Dua Qumel? You should read it for those that did not read it. Dua Qumel was named after a man for what reason? It was named after a man because on the 15th of Sha'ban, the night that is the greatest night outside of Shahr Ramadan. It is the greatest night outside of Shahr Ramadan. Al-Mubarak, on this night, Amir al-Mu'mineen tells his companions the best actions are to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He says, but for those that want the apex, they want the ultimate thing for this night, alaykum, he says, bidua al-Khudr. You read Dua al-Khudr. This is the best action for this night, and everyone skedaddles. Everyone takes off. Amir al-Mu'mineen goes to his house. Everyone goes home. You know how sometimes people tell you mustahabs tonight are this and that. So, alright boys, where are we hanging out? Where are we rushing to do these actions? Where are we going? Where do we go to pick up? Where do we go to cruise along the beach? Who are we going to pick a fight with tonight? You know, because that's where you end up doing. That's where the testosterone build-up takes you to. You know, if I don't find a female counterpart, I'll look for a male counterpart. But not for the other schools or understandings that people have. So anyway, this is what this testosterone build-up does. And then there are those that when they are told that there is another thing to do, they run towards it. Amir al-Mu'mineen didn't even tell them what this dua was. He just says Dua al-Khudr, and one man follows him home and knocks on the door and says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, you mentioned Dua al-Khudr. What is Dua al-Khudr? What is this dua that you mentioned is the ultimate thing that can be done on this night? And then he says, O Kumail, say after me, Allahumma inni as'aluka bi rahmatika allati wasi'at kulla shay. And we name the dua what today? Does anyone call it dua al-Khudr? It's called dua Kumail ibn Ziyad, because if it wasn't for Kumail, looking for what's the best, this would have been one of those treasures that would have been lost. Would not have understood a treasure that when I read this dua, there are things in this dua that you cannot find in any dua. People actually sometimes forget the importance and the beauty of this dua because you read it so often. It's like reading Surah Al-Fatiha. Surah Al-Fatiha is so beautiful. If you sit there and read it and understand what you are reading, people ignore it because they read it every day. It becomes mundane. Yeah, I read it today. I read it how many times? Subh twice, Dhuhr twice, Asr twice. I read it so many times. Let me find something new. You know what? I read a new surah or read something new. They want something that is different. This dua has so much beauty in it and understanding. It teaches you how to ask God for mercy. It begins by telling you how to understand His position, to understand His status. Taban, this isn't a night for me to discuss the value of this dua. But there are those that want to know. They ask the right question. They want the best. What is the best action on this night? What is the best action in this month? And he says, Ya Abul Hasan, أفضل الأعمال في هذا الشهر الورع عن محارم الله عز وجل. The best action that you can do in this month, there is no better action than this. The best is to abstain from sin. This is the best thing. This is the most reward you're going to get. Don't sin. Don't abstain from sin. Don't sin. Don't go to places where you're going to sin. When the majlis finishes, don't go cruising down to Brighton or up to Bondi. Don't go to these places where you know you will see scantily clad women. You're lucky it's winter, but there's those ones that are freaks. They'll come out, doesn't matter what the weather is. You know, some people think a sarong is a winter clothing. You don't know. Some people think that certain clothes can be worn any time of the year. So I need to abstain. But then there are those that are above that. Taban, my time has reached its end, and I don't want to go into tomorrow night's discussion. But the next level of people are those that are above this. They are not those that abstain from sinning, but they are those that they even view the sin as appalling. They have reached that next level. They have reached a level where they view the sin as something that is abhorrent, something that cannot even be looked at. If you look at the prophets, when they came to prevent from people from sin, they came in stages when they taught religion. It didn't come with a big thud. Allah Azza wa Jal brought the religion in stages. This is firstly for several reasons. One, the people were only first beginning to move away. Atheism wasn't rampant in those days. It wasn't like today. Today it's spread out, it's spread wide. But it wasn't in that manner. But I'll leave this discussion to tomorrow because I'm bored of myself. So I reckon you're bored of me too. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to forgive us in this month. We ask Allah to forgive us for every action we've committed. We ask Allah that every person in this room makes up with those that have harmed them and vice versa. Forgive people for their transgressions against you and have them, and settle your debts with people. Settle your problems with people. This is a month of people coming together. Make up what you've broken up in this month. How can we wait? You got 1,000,001 bigger problems than worrying about, I used to remember issues. Honestly, I've seen stories, heard and seen actual incidents where someone has land that they once owned but it's no longer theirs, and you ask him what happened to the land. He says, well, my brother wasn't that good with my father, and I was good with my father. My brother wasn't that good with my father, I was better than him. My father preferred me over my brother, and because of this he gave me this piece of land. But he says I gave him half the land just so he has forgiveness for my father. So he forgives my father because he has taken him out of the will, which he can't. In the will he's written that I don't get part of this land, but I've given him half the land, so he forgives my father. Solve the problem. There are people today that don't even want to solve the problem. Something so small, and they come up and they say it's the principle of the matter. Forget the principle of the matter. That's your ego. That's your ego, because the bigger person resolves the problem. It's not the principle of the matter. There are issues that are not resolvable, and I'll tell you now, anyone that is not remorseful, don't forgive them. Someone's not remorseful, why should you forgive them? It means they don't care. Tomorrow they'll do it to someone else. There's someone that is remorseful. Someone says, Samahni, you shouldn't say what for. What did you say? What did you do? They've come to fix a problem, help him. He's taken that step forward. So have this in your heart in this month. Ask Allah to place that mercy in your heart